Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lana and here I talk about stuff that I read. So this week I thought it would be really cool to kind of see how much I read every day. I typically read maybe about 2 to 3 books a week. Sometimes I can get up to 12 books for the month. That's probably my record. I want to try and keep track of how many pages I read every day this week. Right now it's June and this is actually a super crazy month with school finishing up. It's recital season. Both of my kids are in dance, so there are going to be more practices, picture day, rehearsal, dress rehearsal, all that stuff. I'm also planning for a road trip at the end of the month, and I also have a job. So this should be interesting. I feel like my TBR has just been growing exponentially lately, and I was in a reading slump a couple of weeks ago, which really set me back. Right now, it's the beginning of June. I just placed my orders for Book of the Month and for Aardvark. I'm getting 5 new books with my Book of the Month subscription, and I'm getting 3 new books from Aardvark. The first thing I want to do is finish the Book of the Month and Aardvark picks from previous months that I haven't yet finished. Yesterday, I started Man Made of Smoke, so now I'm about 128 pages into this book, and I'm hoping to finish it today or tomorrow. Next on my TBR that I'm hoping to read after Man Made of Smoke is Upon a Starlit Tide. So this is from my last month's Aardvark box. I'm super pumped to read this. However, I can never really plan too many books in advance because I'm such a mood reader. So even though I really want to read this book, maybe when I finish Man Made of Smoke, I'll want something different. I typically have a couple of books every month that I have to read because I'm in 2 book clubs. We just had our book club meetings last week, so I have a few more weeks before I need to get started on the book club picks. For one of my book clubs, we're reading The Tenant by Frida McFadden, which honestly, I'm not super pumped about. I'm not a huge Frida McFadden fan. There's really only one book that I've really enjoyed by her, and that was The Teacher. The Teacher is a really fun book full of twists and turns, and that was great. But everything else that I've read has been kind of subpar. I know there are a lot of Frida McFadden fans out there, so please don't come at me over this. I feel like she's just pumping these books out and they're not the best quality. We put our book club picks to a vote with that specific book club, and The Tenant won. I did not vote for it, but the other girls did. Typically, Frida McFadden reads are very easy and quick, so I'm going to read it right before the book club meeting. For my Spicy Mom book club, our pick of the month is The Never List. I'm super excited about this. I've really been feeling a reverse harem, why choose romantasy, so I'm excited for this. If you're wondering about my shirt, it's really awesome. Blink-182. Where did I get it? The children's section at Zara. Yep, this is for 13 to 14-year-old girls. I bought this thinking my 5-year-old would be able to wear it as a cute oversized top in maybe a year or two, but when I got it, it was actually my size, so she can borrow it later if she wants. Wish me luck. Okay, honestly, I didn't think I was going to finish this today, but it was a pretty quick and easy read. Was it my read of the year? No. But it was a fun serial killer thriller. Thrillers now lack that wow factor for me. So it's like there should be this big great reveal, but when we get to it, I'm like, okay. Maybe I've just read too many of them that now I realize that the murder is always a character that's already been mentioned. It's never somebody random. I think that's going to be it for me for today. It is my wedding anniversary today, 7 years with my husband. So I'm actually going to take a night off reading tonight and spend some time together. It is Tuesday, day 2 of my reading challenge to myself, and I haven't given up yet, which is great. Go me, 2 days. Yesterday, I read 180 pages, so let's see how many I can get through today. Sometimes after reading a book, I don't immediately know what my opinion on that book is. I need to kind of sleep on it before I can figure out if I liked it or not. This is the one that I finished yesterday. Actually, my thoughts are pretty similar to what they were yesterday when I finished it. It was a little bit anticlimactic. I think it's great for somebody who loves mystery, thriller, serial killer stuff, but it's not winning any awards for me. I will say it was a fun little palate cleanser. After finishing this book yesterday, I didn't end up reading anything else. I Just spent some time with my family. We had dinner together and we watched our wedding video. Like I said, we've been married for 7 years, and this is the first time that we actually watched the video in its entirety with our kids. They're 3 and 5 now, and we thought, oh, this is probably a good age for them to actually care and appreciate it. Our 3-year-old was kind of into it. She was excited to see people that she knows in the video. Our 5-year-old was really into it, and actually, it kind of made her emotional. When we asked her why she's upset, she said, I just love Mama and Papa so much. It was really sweet. Also, I'm wearing another Blink-182 shirt today. So I love this one too. This one is not from the kids section. It's from the One More Time tour that we went to last year. My husband and I went to the show in Toronto. It was actually their last Toronto show, which is really cool. We grew up listening to Blink-182, so it was an awesome experience to actually be able to see them live. For my next read, I am going to start Upon a Starlit Tide. I mentioned before that I'm a mood reader, so I can't really plan too far in advance because my mood might change. My mood did not change. I still definitely want to read this like right now. Upon a Starlit Tide is by Kell Woods, and I got this from my Aardvark subscription box. I believe this is from a few months ago, but when I read about it, I was really curious, and I ordered it in my May box. I would have bought this book based on the cover art alone, but I read a brief blurb about it that it's essentially a dark retelling of Little Mermaid, and I was sold. I don't really have plans today. It's not a very busy day for me compared to the rest of the week, so I think I'll be able to get a good amount of reading done today. It is such a beautiful summer day today, finally. I would love to read outside, but I don't think I'll have a chance today because we have some construction going on, so it's a bit too noisy and dusty for me today. But soon. Okay, let's see how far I can get today. Once again, I've made the great mistake of going into a book with expectations. I feel like I've been misled. The cover has a mermaid on it. I thought I was going to be reading a book about mermaids. I thought I was going to be reading a dark retelling of My Little Mermaid. It's not necessarily that it strays from that significantly, but it just takes so long to get to anything mermaid related. The book is 400 pages, and you don't even meet a mermaid until about 200 and something pages in. I thought there would be more magic, and I was really looking forward to a fantasy read. This has just mentions of magic and fae for the first half of the book. I would say the first half feels a little bit more like historical fiction. I don't hate it, and I'm going to finish it soon, but as of right now, it's not quite what I hoped for. I'm hoping the ending really saves this book for me. It's not a bad read, but it's not my read of the year for sure. Okay, I just finished Upon a Starlit Tide, and final thoughts are that it was actually really good. I think that the first half of the book could have been way shorter. That could have been compressed into a much smaller part of the story. But in the second half of the book, it really, really picks up. There's a lot more action, there's a lot more magic, there's just a lot more interesting stuff going on. I'm not a huge fan of books about war or historical fiction, really. There were some components of this book that I found really cool. The author traveled to St. Malo, which is where this book is set. St. Malo is on the coast of France in Brittany. Brittany? I don't know how to say it in English. Brittany? Bretagne. Sometimes you know a word in its original language, and it just feels wrong to say the translated version of it. I really liked the accuracy of the folklore and historical elements when it comes to this specific setting. For example, I did have to look up quite a few words here, like malouinière. I also had to look up the pronunciation of it, malouinière. It's a grand private residence built by wealthy shipowners in St. Malo in the 17th and 18th centuries. So that was really cool. That's a new word, and I didn't know about that. Another thing that I learned about is they talk about a few of the fae creatures that live in the area or had lived in the area. A lutin is a kind of elf fae creature that's in a lot of different stories set in different places in the world. However, the jetins are native to this specific area of France. So that was pretty cool. This book is kind of a mishmash of different stories, predominantly Little Mermaid and Cinderella, but apparently it has elements of other lesser known stories. Final thoughts are I would give it a solid 4.5 stars. I'll have to sleep on it for my final rating, but that seems pretty fair for now. I wouldn't quite give it 5 stars because I found the first half to lack all the elements that I actually came to the story for. Back on the shelf it goes. All right, so it's day 7, and I really thought that I was going to finish like 3 books this week, even though I said I was going to be really busy, but I don't think I'll actually finish my 3rd book this week. After finishing Upon a Starlit Tide, I started Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. This was my June book of the month main pick. I've really been enjoying it so far. I'm almost 200 pages in. The story is still building. There are 3 main characters and it's kind of following their stories. So far I really like it. It's really interesting, but I'm curious to see how those 3 stories are going to tie together. Between the dancing and the skating and the kids' birthday parties and the general errands and all the other things that I need to do on the weekends, it's not the best time for reading. So we'll see if I get a chance to read later on. So far I feel that despite all the things that I needed to do this week, I still got quite a bit of reading done. And most importantly, I'm enjoying it. I'm glad to be out of last month's slump and to be back to enjoying reading. We made it to the end of the week. 7 days are done. Here's a little recap. I finished Man Made of Smoke. I started and finished Upon a Starlit Tide. And I got close to halfway through Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. I wish I had ended the week by finishing a book. I kind of feel weird that I got through 7 days and then I'm halfway through a book. However, when I look back on how much I actually read, I read 818 pages this week. That's not bad at all. If anything, I just picked books that were a little bit too long maybe. To get through almost this much reading, I think is pretty good for a week. Since I haven't finished Bury Our Bones, you'll have to tune back in for a full review of that. My thoughts at this point, halfway through the book, are that it's really interesting. The book really draws you in from the beginning. It has strong female characters. It's basically 3 separate stories, and now that I'm over halfway through, I can see how those are starting to connect. I think it took a little bit long to get to that point of it connecting. Otherwise, I like the concept. I like the story. I like most of the characters. I think hearing so many times that this book is about lesbian vampires, I kind of expected more about love, sexuality, that kind of stuff. But I feel like it's really more about the vampire aspect. I'm sure that a lot of people can relate to this, but sometimes I feel like I'm so hard on myself. I set these expectations for myself and then I'm like, oh no, I didn't achieve my ridiculous goal that doesn't actually mean anything. I really wanted to finish 3 books in a week. All in all, that would have been over 1,000 pages. And after reading 818 pages in a week, I'm like, oh no, I should have done more. Granted, I wouldn't have sacrificed any of the quality family time that I had to read more. So I think I made time for reading when I could. And when I couldn't, I tried not to sweat it. Make sure to subscribe to hear more about Bury Our Bones and to check back in for more book chats. Thanks for hearing me out, and I'll see you again next time.